What's up, guys? Beer here, back in the fantasy bar. 6 of my favorite plays for you for week 10. We're going to hammer the mid-range pricing here, make life easy on you, give you some room to roster those studs. A little happy hour here for you in the fantasy bar. Who are we looking at? Belly up to the fantasy bar and find out. Welcome in, guys. Week 10 edition Beers Daily Fantasy 6-pack. The fantasy bar ready to rock here once again. I can't believe the weeks are flying here. Week 10 already. But another big slate of games here on the main slate. And I'm back to give you 6 of my favorite plays covering both DraftKings and FanDuel. Welcome in. Pull up that bar stool. 6 guys fresh off the tap coming up shortly. But as always, let's take a look back at week 9. Some hits, some misses. Obviously, that Jets-Dolphins game really disappointed. We needed Jamison Crowder. Robbie Anderson a letdown there. But hit on Josh Jacobs. Winston was solid for us in the Beast of the Week. So, all in all, maybe a C+, B-. Not our best week, not our worst week. Let's do better here in week 10. So let's get started here in week 10. We're going to start at the running back position with David Montgomery of the Bears. So week in, week out, you've seen running backs against the Detroit Lions here in the fantasy bar. We're going to continue that theme here with David Montgomery. The Lions have allowed the most fantasy points per game to the running back position through the first 9 weeks of the season, and Montgomery been impressive here over the last couple weeks. The touches right around 20. And Montgomery been very impressive here over the last couple weeks. The touches are on the rise, the production also on the rise. The price, I don't think it's risen high enough here. So good value here at only $5,300 on DraftKings and is involved in the passing game. $6,400 on FanDuel. I think there's plenty of touchdown upside there. Playable on both sites this week against the Detroit Lions. All right, let's go to the wide receiver position. Continue with the mid-range / value plays with DeVante Parker of the Dolphins. I know, rostering Dolphins did not work out so well for us last week with Mark Walton, but I like this spot for DeVante Parker, who's been sneaky good here over the last month or so. We'll get to that in a minute. But Preston Williams, unfortunately put on IR, a guy that's been playing extremely well as an undrafted free agent for the Dolphins. But that's going to open up more opportunity for DeVante Parker. And again, been pretty good already. Touchdowns in 4 of the last 5 games. So even as bad as this team is, they're getting some production through the air with DeVante Parker with a little bit of Fitzmagic. Not winning many games, but we don't care about wins and losses here in daily fantasy. We want the stats. And looking at this game, the Dolphins, huge 9.5, 10.5 point underdogs, depending on where you look here. What does that mean? They're going to be throwing a lot in this game, likely playing from behind. I know the Colts do a good job of limiting the big play. I think there's going to be plenty of production available here for DeVante Parker. Under 6K on FanDuel, under 5K on DraftKings. Tremendous value here for you in week 10. All right, we like the passing game of the Dolphins. That means we like the running game of the Colts. We're going to go with MARLON MACK against those Dolphins. So 7K on DraftKings, $7,400 on FanDuel. Very good prices here, especially that FanDuel price. But let's look at some of the stats here for MARLON MACK. 20 or more touches in each of the last 4 games. So he's getting that workhorse load. The targets have been there, a couple targets a game. I know it's always a concern with a guy like MARLON MACK not being involved in the passing game. We're starting to see more of that here this season. Miami, 31st in DVOA against the run this season. That obviously equates to fantasy points allowed. 3rd most fantasy points allowed to the position, and giving up a league worst 134 rushing yards per game. I think MARLON MACK can crush here. Makes for a great correlation with the Colts defense. Kind of gets you off some of them chalky pass catchers for Indianapolis. But Mack, a great smash spot here. I think he has a big game at home against the Miami Dolphins. All right, let's go to the tight end position. A guy I think is going to be a little bit off the radar here, GERALD Everett of the Rams. So why do I think he'd be off the radar? He falls into what I call the dead zone of pricing. And I think a lot of people are either going to pay up at the position with a Kelsey, one of the other studs, or go cheap with some of the value plays, some of the 3K tight ends on DraftKings. So you can find an edge in ownership here by going to this middle range. Like Everett, the guy I want to get into my lineups at that price point. The Rams likely without Brandon Cooks in this matchup. That's going to help things for GERALD Everett. Just one more big name gobbling up targets that we can take out of the lineup. The Steelers fifth most fantasy points allowed to the position, and I get it. Minka Fitzpatrick is there. These numbers may be a little bit skewed. They were terrible earlier in the season, but even some of the recent results, Jack Doyle had a decent game against this team. So Everett has flashed. I know the Rams on the road. I know Goff on the road, a concern. All that's going to do is lower the ownership here. So we're throwing a dart at an ugly tight end position here with Gerald Everett. Got a good feeling here. Don't hate the matchup and love the prices across the industry. Gerald Everett, our tight end here for week 10. All right, back to the wide receiver position. Pick number 5 for us, Christian Kirk of the Arizona Cardinals. So like it says, Tampa Bay has been giving to the wide receiver position, to say the least, giving up a ton of production here. Just like our buddy Santa Claus on Christmas morning, you come down, ton of presents under the tree. I think you're going to get a ton of fantasy points under that tree this week against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, a pass funnel defense, and what does that mean? They are very good against the run. In fact, one of the best teams in the league against the run. Not so good against the pass, so it's going to force Arizona to go through the air here. They are underdogs, which likely means even more throwing. We have the highest total on the main slate here at 51.5. Means I want to be heavily exposed to this team. Christian Kirk coming off a dud. I think he responds in a big way here. Under 6K on both sites. Tremendous value for your cash games. Also, big upside for your GPPs. All right, it's time to take a look at my favorite play for week 10. But before we do that, guys, need a couple things from you. As always, subscribe to the channel. Make life easy. We got NFL videos covering FanDuel and DraftKings here. We have a Yahoo video as well, so 6 more of my favorite plays, so make sure you're checking that out. And a couple NBA videos as well. If you're playing NBA, make sure you check that out. Easiest way, subscribe, hit the bell, then you'll know when the videos are coming out. Second thing, tips here in the Fantasy Bar. No money required. Never going to ask you to PayPal or do any of that nonsense that some people are. All I need you to do, take a second, click that thumbs up button. That's the tip jar. I greatly appreciate it. And as a thank you, we're going to continue the Beast of the Week contest. Closest guess in fantasy points on DraftKings to my Beast of the Week is going to win their choice of 1 free week of RotoGrinders Premium, which is going to give you access to everything we have, all the tools, all the projections, full lineup HQ, a free week there. Or if you're already a loyal subscriber, thank you for that. We're going to give you a free RotoGrinders t-shirt sent right to your doorstep. So easy fantasy points in the comment section after you hit the like button, guys. So let's get to it. Let's take a look at my favorite play. You know, Matt's the Beast of the Week. All right, Beast time. We still owe you a quarterback. I love this spot for Arizona against Tampa. We're going to go with Kyler Murray here, this week's Beast of the Week. So Murray definitely has had his ups and downs, no doubt. But 23 or more fantasy points now in 3 of the last 5 games. We just talked about Tampa Bay being a pass funnel, 4th most fantasy points per game allowed to opposing quarterbacks. And when we're looking at this game's not going to be sneaky. It's going to be one of the higher owned games. But I think the Tampa Bay side of things is going to be the more popular option. Kyler Murray is still a guy that's going to give people doubts. I think people rather go with Jameis Winston, Evans, Godwin, guys on the other side. So I think you can be a little bit sneaky here, stacking up Arizona and running it back with some Tampa Bay. But either way, love Kyler Murray in cash games here against this defense. And in tournaments, I think you're going to see one of his highest outputs of the season. Kyler Murray, easily my favorite play for Week 10 in this week's Beast of the Week. All right, guys, that wraps up here for Week 10 in the Fantasy Bar. As always, guys, that comment section is for you. Questions, feedback, whatever you guys want to talk about, get down there. Make sure you get your Beast of the Week pick in there for your chance at a free week of RG Premium or a free RotoGrinders t-shirt. For RotoGrinders.com, I am Beer saying salut. Best of luck here in Week 10, guys. Again, go check out the Yahoo videos. Go check out the basketball videos. Guys, appreciate everything. Good luck, and we'll see you.
Hey, thanks for checking out our videos. If you want more expert advice on DraftKings, FanDuel, or any other daily fantasy sports, make sure you check out the current videos playlist.